Welcome to the She Lives podcast, a show for women who want to live a happier life while tackling their goals along the way. Want to learn more about what we talked about today? Visit our website, shelivespodcast.com. Now here's your host, Michelle Hancock.
Welcome. Thank you for joining us. I am here with Brittney Stefanic, and she is a science geek and lover of sleep. Aren't we all? And an Enneagram 1. She believes deeply that sleep is a superpower and that you need more of it, whether you're a mom, business owner, or a corporate CEO. Sleep is the ultimate form of self-care, and she loves helping families around the world get more of it to continue living a healthy and thriving life. Amen. I'm so excited to have you here, Brittney. Thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having me, Michelle. I'm excited.
So did you get some good sleep last night? I have to ask.
I sure did. And it's so funny. I was like, I wonder if she's going to ask me about my own sleep. I'm glad you did. We went to bed a little later than normal last night. We had like a mom's night, fun night with all the kiddos. And Lincoln, for the first time ever, he's 3.5. And he went to sleep last night a little later than normal, but this morning he slept in. So I feel like I'm winning at life today.
You are. You definitely need to take that victory and do something special about that. And hopefully it continues. I mean, that is the best gift to any mom or any woman, is the gift of sleep. Seriously.
I feel ya.
So tell me more about yourself and how you got into this sleep consulting business. It's amazing to me.
So my background is actually in biology and education. So before I had my son, I was a high school science teacher, and I had 8 years in the classroom. And then after having Lincoln, I realized that my hobby of sleep, which yes, it is like my greatest hobby and my best hobby, I think, but my hobby of sleep and my new job as mom weren't really meshing well together. And so kind of took it upon myself, and thankfully our pediatrician was completely on board and let me know that sleep is something you could teach. And so as soon as I heard that, it really started, sending off light bulbs in my mind, because I felt like, wait a minute, I'm a teacher and I like science and I think I can figure this thing out. So from there we kind of experimented. I read a lot of books, and then within the next year ended up getting certified and launching my business and leaving the classroom and now doing this full time.
What an amazing story that you can turn that into a career. And so many people need this. And I don't think they realize it's a service that's actually out there. And a lot of times they're scared to ask for help. I know I was. I mean, you have the mom groups and everyone just throws out their opinions, but what makes you so much better than other mom groups or word of mouth or personal stories that people have?
I think you're so right that it's a fairly new service that is offered to moms. And so a lot of times people just don't know about it. And then the other thing about sleep, which I feel like is like most things in motherhood specifically, is that everybody has their own thoughts about it, and everybody has their own ideas, and everybody has their own magic remedies. And so I think, I hear often from clients oh, it was so nice to not have to Google it anymore and just have someone tell me and advise me what to do for our family. And I think that's the biggest thing, because, there's so much accessibility to information because of the internet and because of Google and Pinterest that it's so easy to get overwhelmed. How do you know what's the right thing to do? And you can Google and find the answer, any answer that you want. And so how do you pick? And I think the coaching aspect, allows for it to feel right for each family.
I agree. It's similar to working out and how you can Google and find all this information, and it's information overload. And we don't have time to go through all of those resources. So I like that you're able to just listen to each person, their individual needs and what their goals are, and then you can personalize it to them, and you kind of go through all the options and then find what works best for you. So I love that part. It's very similar to a fitness coach, but a sleep coach. And I think people really need to realize if you're not getting good sleep, it really derails your whole weeks, days, years. I know for me, when I don't get sleep, I'm cranky and there's only so much coffee you can drink, unfortunately. So I know that a lot of times we talk about sleep struggles with our kids, But really for this
Mhm.
podcast, and I was just telling Brittany, you could do an entire podcast on sleep issues and concerns and goals and everything like that. But for today, we're going to talk a little bit about self-care and sleep struggles that modern day women have. And a lot of times we overlook that because we're so worried about our family and our friends, and we forget about us. So that's what we're going to focus on today. And then we're going to talk a little bit more about your lifestyle as an entrepreneur and any tips you can give those that are looking to do the same thing. So
Awesome.
tell me what are some of the sleep struggles that women have that you've talked about with others?
Yeah. So I would say the biggest one would be like not having time for it, not being able to prioritize it, similar to what you were saying, Michelle, about like, always having other people on the front end and putting ourselves on the back burner. So I would say, you know, prioritization and scheduling of sleep, which sounds really elementary because it sounds like, well, no, like I want to get 8 hours of sleep. Like I want to be able to schedule that. And so often we're just not able to see the value or make the space for it. And I would say that's probably the biggest one. And then a very close second is definitely screen time or device use and sleep and kind of the impact that, modern day technology has had on sleep struggles and sleep patterns and really like a poor quality of sleep too.
So I'm guessing that you would tell me that me checking my email or my social media right before I go to sleep is probably not the best idea.
I mean, if
Just give it
if
to me
you're
straight, girl.
yeah, so if you're struggling with sleep, pulling the phone out of your bedroom is going to help. Period. If
Oh
it's
man, hard
not
truth.
impacted, yeah, no, super hard truth. And it's like, especially as an entrepreneur, like you're telling me that I'm not supposed to be on my phone when I'm supporting my clients on my phone? Like what? How does that work? And I think the thing is, like anything, I'm not saying don't use your phone. I'm not saying don't use your phone at night. I'm saying let's strategically plan when you're using your phone and when you're doing other things so that your sleep is better.
And I think it's smart to set some boundaries as well with people
Oh,
and
absolutely.
clients. These are the times that I can respond to your email unless it's an absolute emergency. And that's something I've been working on this past year and this year is, you know what, that email can wait until tomorrow. It's not that important. I got to let my OCD calm down a little bit, and it's not the end all be all if I don't respond to that right away.
Yeah,
So I
absolutely.
definitely I could see that helping your sleep as well. What are some other things that are keeping us up at night besides emails?
Yeah. So, not making time for it or just not prioritizing it. Screen time, definitely. And then another thing that comes up a lot of times for women is like, because the kids are up or if the kids are up or if you're, for example, like a pregnant mom or a nursing mom and kind of these external factors that are causing us to wake. And the problem is not that you've been woken up the first time, but it's the amount of time that it's taking you to fall back to sleep. And for anybody who's listening, if this is you, you're probably like, oh my gosh, yes. And I'm not sure if you've experienced this, Michelle, but let's say you like wake up because you have to pee and it's 2 a.m. And then you go to use the restroom and you come back to bed and you're laying there and you look at the clock or you look at your phone and you're like, oh shoot, now it's 2:15. You look again, it's 2:30. Oh no, even if I fall asleep now, I know my alarm is going off in 3 hours. Now this sucks. I'm not going to get enough sleep. I'm going to be tired tomorrow. And we spin out.
The
Like we
anxiety
just,
hits.
yes. And then it's like, then you're angry at yourself and you're not sure what's happening. And oh my gosh, but my husband is snoring and he's asleep and now I'm resenting him. And like, we just spin out. That's what we do. I mean, that's what the mind does.
That is so true. And then you wake up more tired than you were when you went back to sleep. So
The first time,
it's
totally.
hard. What are the benefits of obtaining quality sleep for us?
In addition to kind of the more trendy or obvious things like, higher energy and not having to hit snooze in the morning and just like overall feeling better. There are studies out right now that are showing that it's in the deep stages of sleep where memories are consolidated. And so if we look sort of longer term, I don't know about you, but like I want to take this memory and this mind with me like far into old age. And so, we look at things like dementia and at Alzheimer's disease. And it's hard to know, but if we can sleep in order to sort of prevent diseases like that, why wouldn't we? Right? Why wouldn't we, kind of set ourselves up for like biological success?
That's fascinating. I did not know that, but that will
Yeah,
encourage me to tell my husband I need more sleep. Do you think that women
absolutely.
need more do you think women need more sleep than men? I read an article that said some study proved that, and I was just curious your take on that.
Yeah, I would say definitely in, just like working one-on-one with clients, I would say women have about 30 to 45-minute higher sleep need on average than men do. And I'm not looking at any studies for that. I'm just basing it, based on
From
like
your
client
experience.
experience. Yeah. But I would say, yeah, 30 to 45 minutes. Um, and, I'd be really interested to know like if it's a hormonal thing or kind of what's causing that increased sleep need.
I would say we juggle more than they do, but I'm not trying to be sexist or anything. I just feel
No.
like we have a lot on our plates. And nowadays, I will say that men and dads seem to be taking a little bit more ownership and being more involved, and that's a huge plus. But I do feel like there's a lot on our shoulders, and we that anxiety hits and everything like that. It's just a formula for not getting much sleep.
Yeah, absolutely.
Do you think that we should force ourselves to get away and schedule sleep, like say at a hotel or something? I'm seeing moms do this more where they
Mhm.
spend one weekend a year, maybe twice, and they get a hotel and they simply just sit there in their silence or they read a good book or watch TV and then sleep. What are your thoughts on
Yeah.
that?
Yeah. So, I mean, from a like self care and taking time for yourself perspective, I love it. I love that women are finally feeling, I guess, the ability to do that and feeling like it's something that they can take ownership of. From a sleep perspective, sleep debt is not something that you can like recover or recuperate from. So it's not like, you can be overtired and overtired and overtired and just have it compound and compound and compound and then have one really great weekend of sleep and make up for it. So from a self-care perspective, absolutely, like go to the hotel as often as you can and want, and have that time either, by yourself or with your partner or whatever. But from a sleep perspective, I guess my stance would be why not work on it so you can be getting more of it all the time, maybe 20 or 30 or 45 minutes more every night rather than needing like once or twice a year to try to recoup, which isn't possible.
Well, that makes sense, and I would have to recoup, like, years of sleep debt, so
Yeah,
I'd have to
you'd
go on a
have to do that.
sabbatical. I'd have to
Yeah.
go on a 3-month sabbatical and then return, and then all the bad habits would return, so
Would
I
come
like
back
what you
in. Yeah.
Yeah, I like what you said, you gotta make tiny changes every day to really catch up, so there's no magic formula on the weekend to just catch up, so that's good to know. I like, maybe just go 20 minutes earlier to
More.
bed
Yep.
every night.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
That's manageable. And I can, if The Bachelor and these other shows would quit being so 2 hours and 3 hour shows.
Long, I know.
That's why you
Totally.
record them and fast forward the
Forward.
commercials.
Yeah,
So,
exactly. Exactly. And, on
okay.
this, Michelle, you mentioned something at the beginning, like comparing the sleep coaching program to like a physical trainer or, some sort of, like in the exercise world. And I would say, like, if we think about these sort of like weekend long retreats or self care times, it doesn't matter how much you exercise in that one weekend at the spa. If you're not exercising daily or getting movement daily, you're probably not going to meet your fitness goals. So it's sort of the same thing, right? Like, yeah, it'd be great to go on a fitness retreat for a weekend. It'd be great to go on a sleep retreat for a weekend. But the bottom line is it's the day to day that matters more. So it's better to get 20 extra minutes of sleep, just like it would be better to walk 20 minutes a day rather than waiting until you go like full on marathon style one weekend a year.
Oh, that's great. That is good stuff. So what prevents us from seeking help from you? Why do you think women are so scared to ask for help?
I think a lot of it is societally. There's a lot of what I call like mommy martyrism, and I think it applies to women in general, not just in motherhood, but like the do more, be more, have more, but also like the I am sacrificing more. Like I'm so tired because I've been up for 7 years straight, or I'm like I feel like there's a lot of And I think this is starting to trend to go away, which is great, but I'm a better mom because I blink, because I stay up, because I do this, because I do that. And so I think a lot of it is like just this false or, misinterpreted understanding that you don't have to be exhausted to be good at anything you're doing. Like you can be a fantastic entrepreneur and still be getting 8.5 or 9 hours of sleep a night. You can be a killer mom and not be up in the night with your kids. And so I think it's sort of this, we have to societally kind of turn the table and say that, you know what, it's okay to care for ourselves. It's okay to prioritize this. It's okay to ask for help. And it's okay to not want to complain about your life.
That is so true. When I first started working from home and meeting other entrepreneurs that did the same and they had kids at home, I would ask them, how do you get it done? Because it's really hard. There's only so many hours during nap time. And, my kids go to preschool maybe like 2 days out of the week. And there was this glorification of the hustle mentality that, oh, I get to do this during the day, but I'm staying up till midnight, sometimes 3 a.m., and then turning around, waking back up at 6 a.m. And this is what I do every day. And, it's just what we have to do to get ahead. And I would start to feel the comparison game like, well, I'm not doing that. Like
Doing
I'm lucky
that,
if I
yeah.
stayed up. Yeah, I'm lucky if I'm staying up till midnight, and then there's this thing with, when your husband or your spouse is like, are you coming to bed tonight? Because I haven't seen you in a couple. And there are some sacrifices you have to make when you're first starting your business. I'm not saying not to put in extra time or work. But I think what I've learned personally is that we just got to get better at time management and priorities and what is really important, and maybe let go of a lot of those mindless tasks that you really don't need to do.
Yeah.
So I'm happy to hear that this hustle mentality is starting to go away, because I don't think you have to kill yourself to get ahead in your business personally. But that was a
No,
lesson for
or
me.
yeah. Or in your marriage or in your motherhood or in like, can't we just be who we are and bring what we bring and be happy with that?
Definitely. Or, get some help. If you need help
Yeah.
with the kids, don't feel bad for getting a babysitter or childcare or something. I mean, you got to get smart about how you could go to the gym and you could get a gym childcare for an hour while you read what you need to read or whatever you got to do.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
you got to think smarter and not kill yourself in the process, because you will burn out.
Absolutely.
And I've been there. I've burnt out, and then you spin your wheels and you're out for 2 months until you can get back into your good headspace. So I love that. That's a good analogy. So, okay. So you haven't always been a sleep expert. What were you kind of mentioned it briefly at the beginning. What were you doing before owning your own business, and how did you decide, I'm going to take that jump, I'm going to take that risk and start my own business?
Yeah. So I was a high school science teacher, and then had Lincoln and went back to teaching part time and was going to do like the part time teacher, part time mom gig. And then after having the sleep struggles with him and kind of realizing, oh, wait, this is a thing. Like, okay, if I'm having this struggle, other moms are having this struggle. And then I heard from friends and family that I definitely wasn't alone. And I was like, let's take this somewhere. And so actually my first year of business, I was still teaching part time. So I had gotten my certification, had launched the business, was still in the classroom. And for us, it was more of a, can I, scale a business or grow a business while I was still at my daytime job out of the house? And the answer was no. Because I didn't want to just be working on sleep stuff on the weekends and on the evenings, because that was opposite of what my goals were. I wanted to be able to do it and still have more time with my family. And so that first year, you talked early about that hustle, and our hustle was strong because I was teaching during the day and momming on my off days and then doing the sleep stuff kind of on the side. And then it became like okay, if this is really going to be a thing, I need more time for it. And the best way for me to make more time for it was by leaving the classroom and stepping into I can be an educator without being behind a classroom door. And I think that was probably one of my biggest like internal struggles, because growing up and through undergrad and through my master's, like I was going to be a lifelong classroom teacher. Like I had a 30-year classroom career in my mind. And so stepping away from that, but knowing that I'm still educating, I'm still working with pediatrics, I'm now working with adults, I'm still teaching science. It's just in a different way.
That's great. I love hearing stories about how people think that they're going one way and then it kind of veers off to this. And growing up, your career probably wasn't around. My blogging, social
No.
media was not around. So I always like to tell parents like, yeah, your kid may say they want to be this when they grow up, but who knows what the world will look
Oh my
like.
gosh.
So definitely having some flexibility and some confidence in yourself that you can make it. Did people think you were crazy that you wanted to leave this safe? I'm sure you had good benefits and you had the summers
Yeah.
off. What did your
Yeah.
husband say when you were like, I'm going to quit and do sleep coaching?
So everybody, by the time I was ready to leave my teaching job, everybody was like, okay, yeah, this is a thing. A lot of the like skepticism and the doubt was actually before I even got certified, because the sleep coaching industry is pretty new, like we talked about, and it's pretty novel. And if you've never heard of it, you probably do like a little bit of a, wait, that's a thing? And maybe a little eye roll, which I'm used to. It's fine. And so, I have a great support system, and my husband and my mom and my sisters, everybody was like, okay, Brittney, yeah, like you go do what you need to do. And I know what they really wanted to say is like, are you sure about this?
I
And I
love
think
it.
you're right. A lot of it is just because these things are new. Blogging and being an online entrepreneur and growing a virtually based service business and all of these things are so unfamiliar to so many people that I think most of the skepticism comes in with that, like, oh, this is a thing. Okay, cool.
I think my husband and my family just got tired of hearing me talk about it, and they were like, "Just go do it."
Do
If
it.
you're,
Yeah.
because I overanalyze things, shocker. And after a year or two of me saying, "I think this is what I want to do," okay, let's just do this. Go do it, because I would
Right.
spend my whole life going, "Well, I should have done that,"
Maybe. Yeah.
So I'm glad you did it. And then I think, having those doubters in the back of your head also motivates you to prove them wrong, or at least in my case. So,
Hmm.
you don't, and if you do fail, that's okay. I'm not saying that, you have to succeed at everything, because God knows I've tried a lot of businesses that did not work out, and it's always a learning experience. But I love that you were like, this is what I'm doing. And you did it. So that's great. What have you learned the most about being an entrepreneur, being your own boss?
Um, that's such a great question. I feel like that could be a podcast in itself, like lessons
Yeah, it's a
learned from an
loaded
entrepreneur.
question.
It is. I would say, I wish I would have known at the beginning, like how much fluidity a business required, because to me, and again, like I'm an Enneagram 1 and I'm all about like doing it right and having it perfect and, all those things. And, I think about where I was when I started. And if I would have known that like my business would evolve and change, my services would evolve and change, that I would add an adult certification and start focusing on adult sleepers, that I would eventually like grow a team and start an agency. Now I have other sleep consultants that are working with me. I wouldn't have been so worried at the beginning about like the brand and the name and the colors and all of that stuff, because it changes and it
You
evolves, and that's okay.
Yeah, I think those details, like you mentioned, the branding and the look
Yeah.
and the graphics, that is honestly one of the reasons it's taken me so long to get this podcast up, is thinking about those silly things. But they look good. You want it to be
Yeah,
perfect. But
totally.
but it's gonna change, just like your seasons in your life change. And it's funny, I've been an entrepreneur for 3 years and I still struggle with that. It's like, just get it
Yep.
up. You're not gonna be perfect
Yep.
at first. You're not gonna be
Yep.
the best. Just rip the band-aid and go with it. So I think that is a great observation of entrepreneurship. So what does it mean to you? You've got the balance between entrepreneurship, your mom, your wife. Self-care is very important, sleep
Yep.
obviously. But what does it mean to you? What does it mean to you personally to live a good life that you can look back on and say, "You know what? I did that right."
So another loaded question. Really, you're full of them, I feel like.
Just call me Oprah Jr.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Okay. Okay, Oprah. So, I think for that, like especially for me and like knowing more and learning more about my personality and kind of the way things that make me tick and things like that. Just knowing that like messy action is good. And that's like, as a business owner, as a wife, as a mom, like just doing the thing, right? Like just going on the date night because I told my husband we were going to, even though there's 1,000 other things I feel like I should do instead. Or just like getting messy, like actually messy in the mud with my toddler and just like being okay with the messy action. And then in terms of business ownership, just like doing the thing and not worrying about so many of the details and the perfectionistic blocks that I tend to come across. And I think just like stepping into the messy action and just doing what we want to do on the daily, on the day to day, which, you know, I feel like is something that I'm learning more about and I'm stepping into. And I was one of those trendy business owners who picked a word for 2020 and my 2020 word is possibility. And so I feel like, you know, the possibility that I can step into messy action, that I can, you know, leave the perfectionistic tendencies behind, that I can continue to grow and scale a business while being a present mom, and taking care of myself and my relationship with my husband and my friends. So
That was a really good answer, and I may have to steal that. No, I love that. I love that. I love that. My 2020 word, I'm another trendy person, I guess, was action because I was
yes.
tired of talking about it and I just want to do it. And you know what? I'm going to mess up. We're all going to mess up, and that's
Yeah.
okay. But at least we're doing it. So thank you so much for being on the podcast today. And tell us where we can follow you.
So on Instagram, Pinterest, and Facebook, we are The Sleeper Teachers, and website is sleeperteachers.com.
Perfect. Now, if somebody wants to consult with you, what does that look like?
Bulk of our consulting is one-on-one, just so we can customize plans and you know, really hold people and families accountable. And so we start with a free sleep evaluation call just to hear about your goals and, you know, make sure that we're a great fit. And then we build your plan. And our pediatric plans, for the most part, are about 2 weeks. And then the adult plans are about 4 weeks of support.
Perfect. Well, I love what you're doing. You're helping people get more sleep, which means they're going to be better human beings. And that's what we want in this life. So thank you so much. And I look forward to talking to you again. I'm sure we will have you back on to talk about kids' sleep or any sleep, or who knows, maybe just The Bachelor.
Yeah,
Like,
let's do that.
yeah, I mean, you know, we can have fun in other ways, but I loved your tips today, and you really got me thinking about what I need to do with my own sleep, because God knows I'm not getting enough, but I'm working on it, and that's all we can ask for is working on it. So
It is 20 minutes at a time, lady. 20 minutes.
okay, I'm going to do that tonight. But thank you so much, and we will catch you on your website and follow all your fun tips and blogs. I get a lot of tips from her, and you will too.
Thank you for listening to today's show. Make sure to visit our website, shelivespodcast.com, where you can subscribe to never miss a show. Find us on social at She Lives Podcast. While you're at it, if you loved today's episode, please take a moment to share with your friends and family and leave us a 5-star rating on iTunes. Talk soon.